So the year is 2019 and there's new graphics cards coming out with ray tracing features, and then there's new graphics cards coming out with Radeon image sharpening. However, they cost $300 or more, and in a lot of cases they're out of people's budgets. But today's top 5 list of GPUs, as much as I like local deal hunting, these ones are readily available. Anyone in the world can get them, and at their price points they're actually not bad value for money, and they will do 1080p gaming perfectly fine. So with that aside, let's get on the list, but then later in the video, I'll also talk about some of my favorite local deals that I'm searching for at the moment and give you guys the full Tech Yes experience. Welcome back to Tech Yes City, and all 5 of these GPUs I have here at the studio and I have tested them, so I will be able to report what kind of performance you can expect out of these GPUs. But coming in at number 5 is the GTX 750 Ti. This is pretty much the cheapest card here in today's bunch, and reason being is because it's inexpensive, but it will also do a decent job of entry-level 1080p gaming. But if some of the later titles, for instance Apex Legends, you can expect this thing to play on minimum settings and still get decent FPS, but you will have to lower the settings completely to the bottom. But with that said, you'll still be able to play CSGO, Dota 2, and League of Legends absolutely fine with smooth FPS at 1080p. But if you want to play some of the latest titles and up the graphical settings, then don't expect this card to do just that. But if you want to up the graphical settings, then let's move on, where we've got the R9 270, where this card's coming in at $53. And the good thing is about this card is if you want to play Apex Legends in particular, this will do so at a native 1080p picture. So you'll still get a good looking picture for $53, and you'll still manage to get over that magical number of 60 FPS in this title. Now, of course, this will play CSGO, League of Legends, and Dota 2 a little bit better than the 750 Ti, and it will play some other games like F1 2019. This will play this at 1080p with decent FPS too. So for $53, it's not a bad choice. However, I did put it at number 4 because it does require additional power connectors. And so if you're just upgrading your GPU and you've got an older power supply, for example, you may need to upgrade your power supply in order for this GPU to work. But this now leaves us to number 3, which is the GTX 950, which is coming in pretty much at the exact same price point as the R9 270. Now, it does trade blows in terms of performance. It just depends on the game you're playing. So you can pretty much expect 1080p on most games on low settings with this GPU. Of course, some of the latest titles, it may struggle to play those games, but overall, it's a decent card for $53. And now the reason this is coming in over the R9 270 is that in a lot of cases, this doesn't need any PCIe connections and it'll run straight off your motherboard socket. And in that case, it'll be an easy upgrade for most people who just want to get into PC gaming. Now, coming in at number 2, we are cranking things up on the completely different angle of things. This is the GTX 1660. Now, it's coming in at $230 US, but that does include free shipping, and all the aforementioned graphics cards in number 1 also include free shipping. So that's a great benefit of getting these cards. But at $230 US, you're probably thinking, well, I'm in the US, I can get these for $220 US. And the thing is, rest of the world pretty much cannot get these prices. And even in Australia, this GTX 1660 is actually a good buy at its current price point. Now, I've tested the colorful model here, 1660 Ti, and that checked out absolutely fine. So the brand of the GPU is okay, the price is good, and if you live in a country where you're paying really high import taxes, you may wish to just drop that seller a message and say, hey, can you help me out? And I'm sure they could do something for you in order to help you out. Now, in regards to the performance of the GTX 1660, you can pretty much expect all the latest and greatest titles to play at 1080p on this particular card with high or ultra settings. Usually ultra settings, it is a card that was geared up towards 1080p gaming in 2019. And on that note, it is pretty power efficient too, only being surpassed by the GTX 1660 Ti. And so this now brings us to number 1, the RX 570 or the RX 580 or RX 470. This is going at the moment on AliExpress for $110 US. And even at these prices, it's a great buy for someone who wants to get into PC gaming and wants to play games on high settings 1080p on pretty much every single title out there. Now, the good thing about this card is too, the one I've picked out here is the Gigabyte model, and I generally have had, through my experience with dealing with RX 570s, the least amount of problems with the Gigabyte models. For instance, there is a Sapphire model that's a little bit cheaper, but especially since I've been buying a lot of cards that have come from ex-miners, the Sapphire cards around my studio here, they have the highest failure rate. And some of these cards, they exhibit these corrosion things on the fins. So it'd be good to check out. If you want to get the Sapphire model, I would ask the seller to give you a real photo of that GPU before you buy it. And if you saw a lot of corrosion on that GPU, then I'd suggest maybe staying away from it. The Gigabyte models, in my experience, are numerous out there on the market, and they have the least amount of problems. Anyway guys, that about does it for the top 5 lists of worldwide GPUs that are pretty good prices at the moment. Of course, things change as time goes on, but as it stands, if you want to get into PC gaming, depending on your budget, then you can get a decent GPU at different price points and still be able to play without breaking the bank. And it doesn't really matter where you live in the world. Now, there is another website called Taobao, but because I don't speak Chinese, I tried using an agent. And when I weighed up all the shipping costs and everything involved in using an agent, it actually sometimes works out to be a little bit more expensive than AliExpress. And in my experience with AliExpress, you've got buyer protection. So if you get something off this website, it comes in the mail and it's faulty, you can generally get your money back with no problems. But as for this list, I'm not taking into account local deals. And if you guys, of course, can get access to some good deals locally, then you'll be able to find usually much better prices than what I've presented here in today's video. And speaking of those local deals, for me personally, recently in the last month, RX 570s and 580s have come up in abundance from different miners. And so I've been picking up some of these cards extremely cheap. And I've got a video where I'm going to be doing a crossfire of RX 580s for you guys and also giving away those 2 cards in that video. So stay tuned for that video. We're going to compare it against some of the latest and greatest stuff, because when you're picking up an RX 580 for like around $42 a piece, that makes it exceptionally good value for money. And that's what local deals are all about, is getting the best price performance possible, and then putting together a machine that will be unrivaled, even compared to that of the newest and best, latest and greatest deals that you can get on sales on Amazon Prime Day, for example. But another thing I've noticed as well, besides the RX 570s and 580s, is the GTX 10 series cards. Always keep your eye out for a 1050, 1050 Ti, 1060, 1070, 1070 Ti. These cards seem to be getting sold quite a bit on the marketplace. Where I'm from, I use Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree. And so those two, I do see the occasional 10 series card pop up for a good price. So between the Polaris cards and also Pascal cards, that's the GTX 10 series, you can get yourself a really good deal locally. They're my 2 sort of top picks for getting the best deals without having to go on to places like AliExpress or eBay. But of course, if you don't have access to the local deals, then today's list will definitely be able to help you out, whether you want to build a new PC or upgrade an old one. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, then be sure to hit that like button for us. Also, I'll leave some links in the description below. They're affiliate links, so if you get one of these cards, it won't cost you anything extra, and you'll be giving us a kickback and helping us out here at Tech Yes City. And with that aside, I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. And if you're enjoying the content enough, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, because when that RX 580 video drops, I'm going to be giving away 2 of those cards worldwide too. So look forward to doing that for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out for now. Bye.